what I experienced when I attended the Asbury University revival. And I'm not saying that everybody's going to have this experience when they attend there, but I wanted to share what I felt. My wife and I drove 9.5 hours to get there with our kids. We left at 3 in the morning. There was a long line when we got there at 1 p.m. We spent about 3 hours in line in the cold, in the rain. I got to spend time in the overflow room as well as here in the chapel. And I just want to say this, that I felt such a tangible presence of God. Even driving back there for the second time, I was undone by God's nearness. It's hard to explain, but even driving there outside the building, I was weeping. I felt such a deep contrition over my sin, but yet such a nearness and a love and a peace of His presence. Even in the overflow room where they were simulcasting in 3 different locations, it was packed to the brim and God's presence was so thick. All throughout the day, people would just spontaneously come up front, weeping at the altar, getting ministered to in the overflow rooms and the main room. The night I was there was a clear gospel call and a call to stand in front of everyone, and there was about a dozen people who gave their lives to Jesus for the first time. The first time I walked into Hugh's auditorium, there was just such a sovereign presence of God that I can't explain. There was people sobbing and crying out all around me. There was simple music playing, honestly unimpressive, just a worship leader with a guitar, but everyone was erupting in praise and cheering and singing all throughout the day. A friend spoke to one of the leaders who said that many of the people on stage had not led worship one time in their life. This was not about a big name, good production, solid music. It was just God's nearness and the hunger of people who wanted to encounter Him. I do want to say I'm blown away by the faculty and how they served the people and facilitated what God was doing. I can't believe the raw hunger of people. There was an estimated about 4,000 to 5,000 people descending on this campus, and I heard other people say the next day close to 10,000 people from across the nation just to worship the Lord. You have to hear me on this. God is doing something unique. He's drawing near to His people. There is an awakening happening. My wife and I spent almost 20 hours in the car for less than 3 hours in this place. I felt convicted, strengthened, refreshed. That night, my wife and I both had intense dreams with angelic activity in them. I'm looking at my own life saying, how can I make more space for the Lord in my life? How can we as communities and churches prioritize prayer and worship in simple, no production? If you're watching this, the time is now to draw near to God. Seek Him while He can be found. There is a visitation coming on America right now and across the globe. Will you make space to host His presence?